There are a lot of noises out there, but um, I'll be talking about uh, computer generations this time. So, this is the first question. Um, which generation of computers used vacuum tubes? Well, you know the answer. This is kind of obvious. Vacuum tube was used by first generation of computers, and uh, I have one more thing to add, which is they used um, what we call it. So let's see. Um, we call it yeah, magnetic drums. They use it magnetic drums for memory purposes. So, which is one more thing. So the second question would be, who invented the transistors and which year? Um, I think this is kind of this is not very much asking question, but I'll be answering this question anyway. Um, who invented the transistor? Yeah, actually, I need to look at it. I guess so. Guys, wait a goddamn minute. Okay, the which generations did they use transistors? Okay, transistors were used in second generations. They used transistors instead of vacuum tubes. They use it transistors instead of vacuum tubes. So this second generation of computers, so they use transistors because they can reduce size and they can increase the speed of the computer, which is very good thing. And I think I went out of the question. So the question is the who invented it. Okay. I guess that's because I cannot find the guy who invented the transistor. So there are three people. There are three of them who invented the transistor. They are William Shockley, John Burden, and Walter Burdine. All they are from America. They invented at the Bell Labs. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much uh, about them. And the year is yeah, I need to look at it. There also 1947. Okay, invention of the transistor is uh, uh, in 1947. So um, okay, let's move on. What technology replaced vacuum tubes in second generation? I think I talked about it. Uh, what technology? It is, of course, transistors. Um, why? Um, trans Vacuum tube was used in first generation, and the next second generation they used transistors, which means the vacuum tubes was replaced by the transistors. Okay, let's move on. What is the main component used third generation computers? I think it is integrated um, transistors. Um, so let me look at it. Yeah, integrated circuits. um, I think I was mistaken before, um, because the reason I told you integrated transistors is uh, it is combination of multiple transistors on a single chip. That's why I told you, hey, yeah, it's not a correct answer, but it's kind of literal meaning of it. Integrated circuits. This is the this is this is this is replaced by third generation. Okay, then we move on to fifth question. Name one high-level programming language introduced in second generation. Name one high-level programming language. Okay, there are two programming language I know. I can't remember. They are I forgot everything in no time, man. I need to keep up with the yeah, I waste a lot of times doing this you know. What was the correction again? The examples, right? The examples of what? The examples of high-level programming language introduced in second generation. So let me check it. Okay, Fortran and COBOL. Fortran and COBOL was introduced in second generations, which is very early versions of high-level programming languages. Okay, let's move on to the sixth question. Which generation introduced the concept of microprocessors? Which generation introduced the concepts of microprocessors? Okay, which is not the which is very obvious question, right? Microprocessors is used after the integrated circuits, which is combined with all combined with lot of integrated circuits. So which means it was um, it was introduced by the time of um, fourth generation. Okay, it is hard to answer without knowing them. I guess I need to prepare a lot more than that. uh, I'm just look at the question, and um, all of the sudden I forgot all the things that I'm going to present in this presentation. So let's see. Okay, let's move on to let's move on to oh my hell no, bro. These guys keep annoying to me, bro. I'm just here to, bro. Okay, okay. I'm going to speak about certain question. So, what architecture is common to all computers and was introduced in first generation? What architecture? This is kind of obvious question. You know, was I talk about it? Was I talked about it? No, I guess not. Uh, the architecture is von Neumann. It is very obvious. One, von Neumann is um, almost everyone knows about that. Okay, we'll move into 8th question. Which generation is associated with artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence. They ask which generation, right? Um, artificial intelligence is 5th generation. So, which is present to beyond. So, it will go present to beyond, from present to beyond. So, a lot of things have gone this generations. What does IC stand for? Yeah, we talked about it, bro. Why you asking the same question, right? I mean, I'm talking to the ChatGPT. He gave me this. He gave me the exact questions 2 times, bro. Okay, I'm fed up with that, bro. Okay, let's move on. IC stand for integrated circuits. Why not? Which company introduced the first microprocessor in what year? Okay, which company introduced the first microprocessor? Microprocessor. Let's see. I guess it's from IBM is the first it's a second generation of computers, and this is microprocessor means 4th generation, right? So 4th generation computers used they asking the examples of computers, examples of the microprocessor computers, which means 4th generation computers. So let's look at it. Um, yeah. Um, IBM. I guess it's the IBM or Intel. Uh, I don't know. They're asking the first microprocessor. Which company? Okay, that's surprising, bro. I never got the question, so I guess I need to ask that questions from Google. So I got a Google and search it up. Yeah, it was Intel. It was Intel. Intel 4004. Okay, that's a microprocessor was that's the first microprocessor built by Intel. That's the first company, right? So let's move on to the structured and not questions, which I don't have to do the note. I'm just doing the podcast about the uh, computer generation, right? Or write a short notes. The following. One Neumann architecture is nothing but um, um, the structure of the computer. Um, uh, um, the, the second generation on. Uh, One Neumann architecture is, the they they described it like uh, uh, input when we given some inputs, and it will do some processes, and it will get stored in somewhere, or it will get displayed in somewhere, or whatever it is, some output methods. And that's the one Neumann architecture. And in the processing uh, unit, processing thing, they they divide things. They divide it into control units and arithmetic and logic units. So I guess the control units is the instructions that we can give, right? So the arithmetic and logical unit means, so um, it has the responsible it is responsible for doing some arithmetic and logical things. But control unit means they are the responsible for controlling things, like giving the instructions and all that. So we move on to the next thing, which is transistors. uh, Write a short note. What do you mean? What am I going to talk about transistors? Transistors is used, uh, I guess it is used in second generation, and that's all I got. I don't I don't know much about that. So let's move on. Same as the microprocessors. I don't know microprocessors, but I know the microprocessors was um, built by combinations of integrated circuits and a lot of transistors and artificial intelligence is used in fifth generations computers, and artificial intelligence, like, I guess I repeated the same word again and again, so I need to stop that shit, bro. Okay, uh, it means I replaced it to it. It means uh, it means we're talking in natural language instead of Python and all other um, languages. We talked in real language. Saying the you know pretty much the examples of it, like Siri, and there are lots more, uh, lot more things in nowadays, like Alexa, and there are a lot more things. So even you can use chat GPT to talk, you know as a companion. um, okay, that's it for artificial intelligence. I struggle it more when I got it, which is good, right? Okay, the list two advantages of transistors over vacuum tubes. Yeah, they asking same questions, not the same questions, but the obvious questions. The list of two advantages means they fast, of course. Vacuum tubes were used, you know they fast and uh, don't need a lot of energy, you know and compare characteristics of first and second generations. When we compare to first generations and second generations, they've introduced and um, high level program were introduced, and um, vacuum tubes were replaced by the transistors, and that's all. There are lots of things happened in that time period. um, Mentioned any two third generation computer models or companies that emerged during that time. um, Mention two the third generation computer models. Let's say computer models in third generation, right? So the this is the very big companies, even nowadays, uh, such as Intel and AMD. What are they asking? I just forgot the question. Uh, Third generation computer models were, you know, Intel and AMD. Those are the key companies that emerged during yeah, that's the answer. Nothing more to that. What are the main features of the fourth generations of computers? Fourth generation. When I tell you about the fourth generations, you you need to um, instantly comes into your mind, which is um, what a third generation computer models. No, the fuck, I mix it up, bro. I need to keep up with these questions. um, Fourth generation computers, right? Main features of the fourth generation computers is microprocessors. So um, fourth generation means um, they're used in nowadays. um, Means microprocessors, right? What are they asking? Main features mean they fast and reduce the cost, um, and lots more other things. So we go on to uh, essay questions. Explain the five generations of computers with the key features, components, and examples. Let's talk about big picture. What have we been what we've been talking? So this is the big picture. So first generations, they used vacuum tubes, and you know vacuum tubes for circuitry and magnetic drums for memory, and very large expensive machines. Programming was done in machine languages. The machine languages is like binary thing. um, they don't use it like Python, Java, or something like, you know they they don't use that languages. They use low level language, which is machine language. We can um, I can give you some examples of first generation computers, um, such as ENIAC, UNIAC, UNIVAC, UNIVAC. Okay, we're more into second generation, which is used with transistors. Um, Transistors were smaller, faster, and we don't have to talk much about it. Because talked it, we talked about it. Um, Used assembly language and early version of high-level programming languages like Fortran and COBOL. Fortran and COBOL are the most um, popular and most relevant answer to these questions. What are the generation? What are the computers used in second generations? So they're smaller and more efficient and more reliable, and all that. So we're more into third generation, integrated circuits. Um, you know they used integrated circuits, which is combined multiple transistors on a single chip. More compact and powerful, which is of course powerful. Uh, they supported multiple programming and time sharing. Also time sharing. They're the one of used in business and government. Uh, I guess the second generation computers, which is built by transistors, is not used in government and business or whatsoever. The second generation is the first generation that used business and government. So the fourth generation means microprocessors. They are the um, they the, they are the one that we've been using in nowadays, which is a but of course we use fifth generation computers, but we also some of you might a lot of you might using these fourth generation computers, and they increased graphical user interfaces uh, and those things. So fifth generation computers is the AI machine learning stuff. Um, they can they can do cool stuff like we don't have to type Python codes and all. We can use it our natural language, which is our native language, to talk to the computers, which we can't do in first generation. First generation, it is very hard to do that. Very hard to communicate with computers because we used binary as a programming language. That's you know and uh, let me give you a conclusion of what we've been talking. The summary of what we've been talking is first generation we used vacuum tubes for circuitry, and the time period of first generation is 1940 and 1956, and examples for that is ENIAC and UNIVAC. And second generation is key technology that we have used is transistors, and time period is end of the first generation and end of the second generation, which is 1956 and 1963. The examples of the second generation computers is IBM 1401. IBM 1401, I think, which is the most popular one. Let's talk about third generation. Conclusion is the key technology they have used is IC. IC means integrated circuits. They used many transistors to build IC. The time period is in 1964 and 1971. In third generations also we used IBM computers. And fifth generation, IBM is not the most popular ones because some companies like Intel, AMD, they introduce a lot of advanced technologies than that. Okay, we move on to fourth generations, which is used with microprocessors, and the time period is in 1971 and now. which means present, to the present. Okay, that's the conclusion. And fourth means, we talked about it. We talked a lot about it. And yeah, that's the conclusion of it. Describe the evolution of computer hardware from vacuum tubes. Yeah, these questions, I think somewhere we covered it. Somewhere in this lecture we covered a lot of these questions. So I'm going to wrap up this podcast. So I'll be posting more content later on. So have a nice day to you all.